Mic check, 1 2 1 2.
Can we get serious now?
One thing that did happen during the 60s was some music of an unusual or experimental nature did get recorded and did get released. Now look at who the executives were in those companies at those times. Not hip young guys. These were cigar-chomping old guys who looked at the product that came and said, I don't know. Who knows what it is? Record it, stick it out. If it sells, all right. We were better off with those guys than we are now with the supposedly hip young executives who are making the decisions of what people should see and hear in the marketplace.
Success in the music business begins with a dream, a vision. This podcast will give you, the listener, the insight and tools to turn that vision into a reality. Meet the industry professionals who work day by day behind the scenes, helping to make those dreams come true. Welcome to the business side of music.
Hi, this is Bob Bender. You're listening to this edition of The Business Side of Music. Today in the studio, we actually have someone who I met, met about 4 months ago at the NAMM show. You were actually hosting a pre-summer NAMM party and got to meet some great people, yourself included. And then we got to really know each other during the CD Baby DIY conference at your booth, which was a lot of fun. As the founding member and chief executive officer of Music Starts Here, Will Carter, creating and cultivating multi-effectual win-win cultures of collaboration, elevation, and excellence at both a company and community level are the primary driving force for Will's pay-it-forward entrepreneurial spirit. His 15 years of investment real estate, financial planning, and startup business development, paired with his 25-plus years of songwriting, recording, producing, touring, performing, and instruction in the music arts has made Will uniquely equipped and faceted to champion the helm of Nashville's largest and fastest-growing online music industry resource center and community network. His undying passion and love for the dreamer, the doer, the craft, and expression of all things music has finally culminated and has been made manifest through all things musicstartshere.org. Last but not least, and I love this quote that you gave me a little earlier. Maybe I shouldn't say quote. It's a perfect description of who you are. Serial entrepreneur, real estate investor, musician, songwriter, artist, producer, multimedia content creator, and progenitor of Music Starts Here. Will, welcome to the show.
Glad to be here.
That's
Bob.
a
Glad
mouthful.
to be here. Yeah, it is. It's funny hearing that back too, because that's the songwriter in me. You know, when you sit down, everybody always makes you write your bio. You got to write. You know, tell us about who you are, and that's always the hardest thing to do. But as a songwriter, you start getting a little creative and a little flowery with the language and the words, and So we had a little fun with that. But it's all true. But the only thing left out of there is, which I probably get called the most, as long as being the progenitor, I'm probably the chief instigator of what I do in our company, just because of where Nashville has gone and grown in the industry, and I'm always kind of in there stirring things up to help the community and that whole industry, I think, move in a direction that helps the creators.
But I think that's important, especially in this town. I had this conversation with some songwriters the other night. I love how songwriters and guitarists, keyboard players, drummers, doesn't matter, whatever musician, they all work in this town to help each other, and they all support each other. And I think I've said this before on the show. You don't see that in a lot of other markets. You definitely don't see it in Los Angeles. I don't think you see it in New York. But here in Nashville, they're all out to help each other, and I think that's important.
Yeah, it's true. When I got here, it's really how Music Starts Here started. Is I was kind of coming here to do music or be connected to it, but also brought my financial planning, my real estate background, 3 kids, my wife, as we were trying to just build a new life here in a new city and state. Mainly just the changes that were going on through the country. We were up in Michigan, 2007-8, the crash that happened during the mortgage stuff and all that.
Right.
So the financial side, the automotive industry. I'm a music guy from years and years back. Love music. Always been doing music since I was young and a kid. And it's always, you hear up there at least, people are like, you can't make money doing music. You can't be in music. No, how do you make a living in music? You know, and it's pretty true. Everybody you knew was in the automotive, and so it was a different group of people you were around all the time who weren't as supportive, like you just explained. It's amazing up there. You don't have that because they don't understand where you're coming from on that level. But moving down here to be closer to that side of the culture, the arts, being in a city that was really strategically located to the rest of the country.
Right.
And also my wife's, her folks and most of her family lived in Florida. Mine were in Michigan, so we could be far enough away from everybody.
Right.
That equidistance 10-hour drive one way or the other. So,
but they could come and visit
they
you,
could come and
then
visit.
they can go home.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Come and visit, and then they could leave, and we could go visit them and everybody. But it was for a lot of reasons. The kids were at that age where if we were going to make the move, we had to make it then. And everything was perfect timing, and we just, I'd been back and forth to Nashville. I'd recorded a couple of my instrumental albums here. I'd done a lot of work with various people here. Like you said, I love the community because I lived in New York for a couple of years, traveled, been everywhere around the country, music cities, and I just loved the heart of the place and the pay it forward attitude again. And people willing, that rising tide floats all boats kind of mentality. I really found that here.
So when did you start Music Starts Here?
Music Starts Here officially launched in a more of a soft launch in 2010. I'll tell you the story because the story is actually pretty fun how it happened. Is I wasn't looking to really start that per se. I loved being a business and creating new businesses and all the things I do, but I was at the Chamber with my real estate finance business. I'd been a member of them, and they were rolling out the Entrepreneur Center, which now in town does a ton of venture capital and funding. They have Project Music, and they've done a lot of really great things, especially on the software tech side that they've helped develop. But they were rolling that out, and they were doing a lot of interviews. So they had brought me and a whole bunch of other people in to do various interviews and just asked me, what I liked about the town, the Chamber, the city, the initiatives, this and that, and everything was just love it, love it, love it. Great, great, great. And then okay, everybody keeps bragging. We need somebody to say something negative about the town. Can anybody say anything that they don't like? And I'm like, I just don't like the way the music stuff's laid out. It's so hard to find. It's a great town, but finding the resources, the Music Row area was changing.
Yeah.
So that area was going from being open to being closed. Litigation was hurting that, people giving songs and then people suing each other for all that. So they're like, no, can't do that. And then the city growing so much too really pushed a lot of things.
And it fractured Music Row into so many different areas.
It fractured it really a lot, and you couldn't walk up and down and connect all the dots like you used to be able to. You had to run all over town, and sometimes a secret handshake, knock on the door, swordfish. Hopefully somebody lets you in, and you can go get some. Hey, that's the person you need to know. Yeah. And
tell them Guido sent you.
That's right. Yeah. I met lots of Guidos, by the way. Yeah. But you found a lot of sharks in that process. A lot of people taking advantage of people, liquidating young people with dreams. Tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands of dollars, saying they could promise them this, that, and the other thing. And I said, I've been running around town for about a year, and it's so hard to really connect the dots and make this a predictable and successful process. I still don't even know if I'd figured it out by the time I'd been here a year. I said, you know what you guys should do? I said, you're the Chamber, you create a welcome center. There was a building right across from ASCAP, which has now recently been purchased by Virgin. I tried to buy that building. I actually made an offer.
That was the old mansion.
It was the old mansion. Yeah. I made an offer on it, and the lady wanted double what I had. I should have got it. I missed out on that one. But as a real estate guy, but at the time I was like, you guys should purchase that building, just fix it up, deck it out, make it a welcome center, kind of concierge service, and just put a big sign above it that says Music Starts Here. Point an arrow down at it, and anybody coming to town looking to do music in Nashville, you can tell them, go there. That's where you start.
Right.
And they were like, that is, yes, we love that idea, and let's come back and talk about that. So a couple weeks later, they brought me in and sat down with a lot of big wigs and some of the community folk and said, are you willing to champion this? Because we can't really do it the way we're structured, but if you'll bootstrap this or get behind it and build it, we'll help you. And they did. So that's kind of where we began the process of Music Starts Here, as really being Music City. Music Starts Here, making the Nashville Music City the place where when people start, they can connect and launch their journey.
But instead of it being a physical brick and mortar facility, it's internet, Ethernet. So people can go online and they can be able to find out what they need to know and be able to meet people. And I think when we come back from our break, I want to talk about that a little more. I definitely want to get into it because I think it's important. We had this with Precious Harris, who was on the show a few weeks ago, talking about kind of avoiding those sharks and getting to the right place. And it's how, if you're new to town, how do you find someone like a Precious Harris, or how do you find a Doak Turner? How do you find those people? And so there really needs to be a centralized hub, and that's really what Music Starts here is.
Yeah, correct. That's exactly what it is. And I think it's hard to say more the what question, or what is it? It's really, that's a moving target, because as the city evolves and the industry evolves, what we are evolves. But why it is actually probably more relevant, and actually, at least to me, it's the why. Again, what the purpose of it is, it's for those reasons. Because when people do come to town, you got to know some things about Nashville. Nashville is booming as a town. So being here for the last 10 years, I've watched it go from, you can drive from place to place in 20 minutes. Now it takes, a little bit longer.
Yeah.
But you have anywhere from 85, according to the numbers, 85 to 100 people a day moving here. And out of those, let's say 100 people, 10% of them are connected and doing music in some way, shape, or form. They did an impact study that they just finally released this year that they showed 10% of the annual GDP of Nashville comes from the music sector, hitting almost $4 billion a year.
Wow.
So huge industry. It's one of the underpinning of the big six industries that support and undergird this industry. Tourism, which has all this money behind it, all this marketing behind it, it's only 15% comparatively. And so that's part of why the city got behind what we were doing. Say, we need an initiative that makes the hundreds of thousands of people that are coming here to try to do music year in and year out. Some just visiting, and there's thousands moving and tens of thousands coming here to do music. We see it, right?
Yes.
All the time.
All the time.
Songwriters, artists, people, it's like just beehive of just stuff going on. It's awesome because there's so many creative people, and the city loves creatives, and we back the creatives, and we want to support the creatives. So that's how why it came together, was to create something like you were explaining, is to make it more cohesive and a place where everybody could connect those dots. And even to the point of where now we're about to release the first Nashville Music Industry Quick Start Guide, which is a fast track guide that will have everything you mentioned, all of those people and organizations and services, best practices, and best companies that you should be connecting with when you get started here in Nashville, so you're not running around for 6 months getting squashed by by this whole thing, but you can connect to it in a very friendly, seamless fashion, and hopefully help people elevate and their craft and catapult their careers in what they're doing.
Let's take a break, and when we come back, we're going to dig into a little bit more of Music Starts here and the services that they provide, especially for those aspiring songwriters, musicians, and artists that are coming into the Music City. This is Bob Ender. We're in the studio with Will Carter, and you're listening to this edition of The Business Side of Music.
Hi, this is Alex Heike, and you are listening to The Business Side of Music.
You're listening to The Business Side of Music.
Hi, this is Vinny Ribas, the founder of Indie Connect. Our goal is to ensure that you have the knowledge, the tools, skills, resources, and connections that you need to develop a profitable and long-lasting career in music. One way we do this is through these Business Side of Music podcasts. I'd also like to invite you to check out Indie Connect magazine, our free multimedia online publication packed with practical interviews and advice from music industry experts. Go to www.indieconnectmag. That's www.indieconnectmag.com. Let us walk with you and guide you every step of your musical journey.
Hi, this is Chris from Sync Songwriter. If you've been trying to get your music into TV and film, but have no idea where to start, I'm launching my new 4-part video training workshop this week. It's completely free, and you're going to learn how to connect with the right people in licensing. Imagine being able to make a living from your music, build your reputation in the licensing industry, and be recognized as the great songwriter that you are. I've been an award-winning music producer for 20 years and have helped countless artists get their songs into TV and film. People who have taken my training have gotten their music on a network such as Netflix, CBS, Bravo. They've scored full-length movies and gotten music into Hollywood movie trailers. The workshop is going to be 4 hours of teaching and training examples, case studies, and even clips of interviews I've done with top music supervisors in the industry. Just go to syncsongwriter.com and sign up now to reserve your spot in the class. If you've dreamed of getting your songs into TV and film, this is going to show you how to do that step by step. So head over to syncsongwriter.com and sign up for the workshop now. I'll see you there.
You're listening to The Business Side of Music.
This is Bob Bender in the studio today with Will Carter, who is the founding member, and chief executive officer of Music Starts Here. You have this quote on your website, and I love this, and it says, "We've built the biggest sandbox with the coolest kids and the most relevantly effective tools, informations, and resources available and accessible in the music business. All you've got to do is jump in the box and let us and the community help you start building your biggest and your best castles." That's a very good quote.
Thank you.
So
I actually wrote that one.
Yeah, I actually wrote that. And that's really what it is. It's so many people. I remember when I worked on Music Row back in the late 90s, and I would be looking out of the window of my office, and you would see these artists with their guitars, and they'd be walking from building to building. They didn't know what they were doing. They just got off the bus, the Greyhound bus, and they're looking for a deal. They're looking for a place to hang their hat and call it home. This didn't exist back then for them. And a lot of times at the end of the day, if they had the money, they'd get back on the bus and go back home, because all their dreams had kind of been washed out in just about a day. You're trying to circumvent that and help them at least find opportunities that make sense.
Yeah, and it's actually amazing how it's grown. Like I was saying earlier, it's what started off as just providing music resources and connecting people to great, because the site, it's not even just a site, it's a community. You have the website side of it, which is just a great place to park information and organize and curate stuff, so people who will search going on what's events are going on, and what's great news that's relevant right now, and what's great video training, or what's a great a music business podcast, and there you go.
Right.
You're there, right? You're part of it.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, we promote you guys all over because we love you. We love what you're doing. So people need this information, but it's not even just that side of it. There's the whole business side where we bring in a lot of people that are teachers and trainers teaching you the music side, but also the business side, from taxes to finance stuff. We've got a big one coming up.
And that is so overlooked.
It's big time overlooked because you can't survive if you don't take care of your business part of it too. You're going to last for so long, but then the creative can't overwhelm the business side. So it's a balancing act, but we've even created, really what has evolved is it's become almost a concierge service. A lot of people who are moving here who find us through our vast network now, we have a real estate division. And who would have thought you'd create a real estate division to serve the music community? But like you said, they don't just come here to do music. They still have to live.
Right.
If we can help them find a job or a part-time job or get them an internship that's paid, if we can plug them into a place to stay that's affordable, or partner them up with a handful of other artists coming to town where they can live together and afford it and still do, and then plug them into some great ways to start doing music here. So it's more of a full service than people would think. We have if people stay with us at some of our short-term rentals that we have, when Music Starts Here, went and bought a bunch of properties to turn them into vacation rentals, so we can house a lot of people coming here, sometimes for free. If they're looking to move, we can provide them with. So it's kind of cool because there's a lot of pieces that I think now when they come, they go, "This is amazing. I can come." Not stressing out.
Not stress out, exactly.
Right. Getting off the bus with my guitar hoping, what am I going to do? Now we're like, I have a plan. We're going to walk you. Here's your day one itinerary. We're going to look at houses or look at where you got to stay. Then day two, we're going to go around and introduce you to the people you need to talk to in the industry, because we've already created kind of a custom itinerary from a concierge service. So it's become more of that.
And I love that. I mean, that's exactly what it is. It's a concierge service. When you go to a nice hotel and you want to plan your day, that's who you go see. Well, if you're an artist, this is something that is so desperately needed in this town especially.
Well, and because you've had a lot of the folks on that we work with.
Yeah.
So a lot of the people you've been doing with the podcasting is like Sound Royalties, Alex at Sound from funding standpoint, people will come here too, and they'll come through us first as a gatekeeper, or that concierge service, and they're like, well, I need this, and this. I'm like, well, okay, I know who I need to introduce you to. Let's talk to, you need a great producer, or a couple of them. Here's who we talk to. You need some songwriting coaching, a vocal coach. You need to get some co-writers. You need to start writing more. You need somebody to really start working on maybe your fan engagement. You've got, wherever you're at, we can hook you up with artist management, and they're reputable people. They've been vetted by the town and by the community and by the city.
So important. They have to be vetted.
Right. Yeah. Vetted for people they've been here long term. They're doing it consistently. consistently. They've got great street cred, and we even go a step further. We love people who give back. It's a pay it back, and they love the community. Those are the ones that we tend to be wrapping around the Music Starts Here hub, and it's a beautiful thing too, because you've seen even at the CD Baby Show the kind of interactions we were having, and people how they were like, wow, I can't believe out of everything even here, which is it's a great conference, but it's like to know Nashville and know what's connectable here. Just talking to you guys for a few minutes, I didn't realize all of this existed. So it is getting the word out too. Our biggest thing, just like any good business, is still getting more and more people to know what we do.
What does it take to become a member of Music Starts Here, and what are the benefits for them?
Well, to be a member, you got to find us, and it's free from there. So we don't, all of our great sponsors
it's
partners,
free. You're not having to pay a membership.
Not paying a dime to be a part of it, right? That's another great thing about the city, behind it and endorsing it and underwriting a part of it, the initiative of the community, the city, the music industry, working together through a lot of the different initiatives we do. So for the user, for the songwriter, the artist, the musician, the production, tech, industry person who's just trying to say, I want to do music or be involved with it some way, it's totally free. Go to the website, musicstartshere.org, sign up for free.
Can anybody that's in the music, is it just limited to artists, or could like producers or engineers or?
Yeah, everybody. It's open because the site's broken down into that. It's like tracks. You can actually, it's color coordinated.
Oh, good. Because,
It's, and it's actually, it will match the directory I mentioned too. So the quick start guide, that'll be a physical guide that's handed out. Will probably, I don't know, based on the numbers we've seen, it'll be 50 to 100,000 we'll hand out throughout the course of a year through big conventions and conferences. And we do a lot of, and because you're at one of them, but we do monthly events, sometimes more than one. We sponsor a lot of great events where, just anything we can do that helps people to elevate what they're doing from a craft wise and their career, trying to get that, because again, that's why it's called It Starts Here. It doesn't end here,
right?
But we give you that 20 to 30% jump off our launch point.
And that's something that people that come to Nashville need to understand. There are a lot of things that start here. There are a lot of the songwriting competition that I was involved with this week with Keith Moore. I didn't even know it existed, and I'm sure there's a lot of songwriters that didn't know it existed. But it's getting the word out, and I love what that is. That's a free event. If you're a songwriter, you just show up and you sign up, and he tries to limit it to 21 a week. We had 25 the week I was there. These songwriters get to get on stage, and this is what I love about it. They get to get on stage, perform their best song, and then they get to network with all these other songwriters. And who knows, maybe the next big hit is out there, and it maybe just takes 2 or 3 of these songwriters to get together. So you're right, it has to start somewhere.
Yeah, and I love that there's so many great resources and services. And that's what it is too. When somebody, I guess to walk through a little bit of the process, so somebody would go to the site, musicstartshere.org, and they would hit the sign up button, sign up. It gives you the choices of, kind of what are you, an artist, musician, songwriter, hybrid. But once you sign up, you're in the community. Instantly you join the community. You can fill out your profile. I know everybody has tons of these, but it's Nashville specific, and it's music industry specific for Nashville. So if they get in the site, fill out their stuff, then they're instantly already ready to start connecting and collaborating with our database of people, and they'll start getting a daily newsletter. And in the newsletter,
via email,
okay. And it shows you what's the core events that are happening for that day, for the next day, so that you'll say, hey, I didn't know this workshop was going on. I didn't know this rooftop co-writing party. I didn't know Keith Moore's thing was going on. I didn't know that even sometimes CRS Fest was coming, or CRS or NAMM or whatever. A lot of times they don't know. Some people don't even know NAMM does a summer NAMM here in Nashville. Most people they just don't know.
To me,
all of these
it
things.
is not the size of the one in Anaheim, but to me, it's a lot more personable.
It is.
I love the Summer NAMM show. You can knock it out in a day and not go crazy.
Yeah, and they were, again, just showing how we were very honored to have them work with us, but they came to us and said, hey, we are, on the Saturday, we're trying to really reach out and get a bigger chunk of the community there. So they gave us 500 tickets to Music Starts Here to give away to and we gave them all away within a day. And they were like, I can't believe you guys gave away that much. I'm like, if you would have gave us 3,000, we probably would have gave it away in a day. That just shows that we've got a real strong community of people who, they're hungry. They're hungry for the information. They're hungry for the knowledge. And more than that, though, we run, I call it, we got 4 things we really kind of do. We've got the digital space, which is the website and the e-newsletter that goes out and all that. And then we have our local live events where people can say, hey, I want to, come to that event. And they get to meet people like you did, right?
Right.
I mean, it's the networking factor where people have to say, hey, and then there's the whole business side of it. We try to connect people to like these ancillary things like the real estate service and the concierge parts of it where they can connect. And it's more of a one-on-one. Let us tailor, if you're going to come here and you're serious about it, then let us help you plug in and amplify yourself as fast as you can and in the right way. And then the last part is with the quick start guide and those kind of materials that are around so people can grab a hold of things. And just that, everything we're trying to get into just makes it where hopefully people can find us easy, connect to those resources easy, and then start creating really their own journey, here in Nashville.
At the pace that they want to, that they're capable of. Yeah.
And they're all at different levels. And I think the biggest thing I find, though, is most people, I hear a lot is, I didn't know that 90% of this stuff was here until I connected with you guys. And it just opened a whole new world of, it's amazing how many people don't even know the urban side of music that's going on here, or the rock side, or the blues side, or the jazz, the genres that are here. And we connect people.
It's not all country anymore.
No, it's not. And it hasn't been for a long time, really. The rock guys have been running the studios for a long time.
They have,
Most people didn't know that, but you've got a lot of amazing rock performers.
Well, you got the Jack
players.
Whites and the King of Leons and that whole genre of music moved in here, I don't know, 10, 15 years ago.
Yeah.
And not necessarily taking it over because they've been real quiet. They've been under the radar.
Yeah.
But they have kind of been running a good chunk of the music scene here.
Well, they're just such talented players, and they're so creative. And when a style or a genre of music isn't quite as hot as it was or getting the exposure it was, a lot of them that came here, they found great work, and their gifts and talents just flourish, being able to be a part of all those A studio players are going out live and doing back. It's amazing how many of you see doing just so many different things.
Yeah.
But that's what makes it a great town. And, again, we're just a piece of it. We're just trying to be the thing that, again, connects the glue that kind of pulls it together. And I lovingly refer to it as we're trying to be like a digital music row. So for people who don't know what that is, again, we kind of shared earlier, Music Row was that place where you used to be able to come to town, again, get off the bus, and just go up and down Music Row.
It was about 8 blocks, and that was it.
About 8 blocks. You take maybe, the day, and by the time the day was done, you're meeting other co-writers, you're meeting your publisher, you've got your attorney, you've met maybe Chet Atkins, you've met some record label folk. You could walk in and talk, you could pitch your songs, hand a CD. You can't do that anymore.
Not
so
anymore.
Everybody's saying, go here. No, go there. And by the time I call it Scooby-Dooing around town, you find, wow, this is going to be a little harder for me to connect and put the pieces in place. So we're just kind of that, hey, we're reaching a hand out and saying, hey, we'll help you get started on the journey. We'll help you make some friends. We'll help you build that sandcastle. And what's great is it's not even the music industry according to Will Carter or our team. It's according to all the pros that have contributed. And you found that from the podcast, I'm sure, how many people are just so giving and willing to share their stories or some of their knowledge. And but it's the same way when you start looking for help. When people come here and we start saying, hey, I'm going to introduce you to these folks you probably need to talk to, and they are open to it. But it's got to be done the right way. There is an etiquette here. There is we don't want to turn into every other place that everybody came from and converted it back into that. We want Nashville to stay what makes Nashville great.
Yeah, and very old school. We're going to take another little break. When we come back, I've got a couple more questions for you, especially where you think the music scene is going to go in this town. We're in the studio with Will Carter, founder of Music Starts Here, and you're listening to this edition of The Business Side of Music.
Hey, this is Chris Cohen from Bands to Fans, and you're listening to The Business Side of Music.
You're listening to The Business Side of Music.
Wow, I just joined the Music Starts Here community. This is a truly hidden gem for anyone in the music business. Whether you live in Nashville or anywhere else in the world, Music Starts Here is like a GPS for your music career. This is the place to be if you want to get advice and direction from some seriously talented musical people who have been where you want to go. Music news, events, and a great big community with resources for artists, songwriters, musicians, studio and tech, along with music business advice from pros in the industry, all on one site? Make sure you get your free profile now. Go to www.musicstartshere.org. That's musicstartshere.org.
You're listening to the business side of music.
This is Bob Bender. You're listening to this edition of the Business Side of Music. We're back in the studio with Will Carter, founding member and CEO of Music Starts Here. We've really been covering a lot of things, and of course then during the breaks we talk about other things that we should be talking about on the show, so let's talk about them. The future of the music scene here in Nashville. We've stepped on this a few times already. It's no longer just Music Road. Now it's Berry Hill, and it's Franklin, and it's Hendersonville, and it's all these different pockets of where people have moved to. But the music scene in general is not what it was 10 years ago. 10 years ago, we looked at record deals a lot differently than we do now. We looked at music careers a lot differently than we do now. It used to be go out on the road and tour to promote the record. Now that has changed and it's inside out. Where do you see the music scene going?
Well, here specifically for here in Nashville, the scene is going to continue to grow. We see it from the real estate side, and we've got our finger on the pulse of that. I work huge with the city, with their focus group for the initiative of building the music community and stuff. So that we're seeing just the growth continues to come. And
you think that's going to stop anytime soon?
No, I mean it will slow down. Yeah. It's never stopped, but of course, as a city, as long as they can still find vacant spots to build something, they'll probably keep doing it. I'd say 3 to 5 years is going to be still consistent growth, but then eventually it'll probably start to taper off a little bit because only so many people can move from LA and New York. And
I've heard that a certain percentage, and I don't want to quote exact numbers because I've heard a couple different ones, but I've heard that a good certain percentage of all the construction cranes in the United States are currently working in Nashville. That's how quickly the city is growing.
That's true. We're in the top. Us in Seattle and Austin on and off have been the top 3 cities for that. And so what's going to happen with the music industry, though, is it's great. I'm excited to see it because what's happening is it is becoming more multi-genre. You're getting other styles and other things are starting to break out. You've got funding sources and people from the label or indie label side that are willing to back those things. So now that there's some money opportunities that can actually work with that's providing these other styles and other genres. So it's making other musicians realize, it's not just country. So we can also go to Nashville, and the infrastructure is already here. You know that. You can go through Nashville and they've already had, the PROs and the publishing and labels and tons of writing opportunities. There's so many great songwriters in this town. And so the business side of it is already in place and running like a pretty well-oiled machine.
Right.
There's a changeover of just because of technology, but the tech center here is huge. When the EC Center kicked off, when we did, that was their biggest thrust is technology, software and technology stuff for also the music side. So you're seeing ways of collecting money and tracking things and doing business.
Which is a lot better than it was 5-10 years ago.
One of the biggest conferences we have every year is the Music Business Conference, the Music Biz Conference that comes in, and that is almost all the back-end industry support from collecting and streaming, digital downloads and how that works and how to get paid. I mean, you see the legislation that just went through, that was thrust from NSAI right here with Bart and his team, right? So you have just a lot of people who advocate for the music creator are here, and the world's finally seeing that. But as they see it, they're like, man, I need to be closer to that. But then they come here and they're like, what a beautiful landscape. You've got hills and trees and
all 4 seasons.
Yeah. And so as they see, what a place to raise my family. So
there's a lot of good values here that have not changed over the years. You're right. It's a great place to raise your family. It's a great place to just. I talked to a young lady from New York City. She's originally from North Carolina, Raleigh-Durham, North Carolina, and she's been working in New York City for about 8 years. And she told me, she said, you lose your mind, you go insane in New York. And you have to come back to this part of the country to catch your breath and slow down and realize that there's a better pace here. And I think musically it's the same way. One of the things, and we talk about all the different genres of music, but we also talk about tourism and how that is a big influx of cash into the community. You still go down on Lower Broadway, between 2nd Avenue and I think it's 5th Avenue, and you still have all the old honky-tonks that were there. And they're still playing music from 9 o'clock in the morning to 2 or 3 o'clock the next morning. And those are bona fide, legitimate songwriters, musicians, artists, trying to get a break, catch a break, but they're entertaining all these tourists that come to town. And so they're opening up a whole new avenue of maybe people they didn't know they would ever touch, now they're getting to.
Yeah, there's so much talent. It's funny when I came here, because being a player of many years, and you're good in your own little pond, but you come here and you're just like, wow, these, amazing talents. The guys on Lower Broadway are some of the best musicians you'll ever see.
One of the guys told me
like,
that I was talking to
that's awesome.
He said that he went on stage a few weeks ago, and I don't remember which honky-tonk it was at. He had never met the guy, but they got on stage, they introduced themselves to each other, and played for 4 hours, knew all the songs and all the right keys, and at the end of the 4 hours, they were buddies.
And that's, again, what makes it a great town, is it's a very network town, relationship-driven town. It's funny how many musicians I hang with who, they're touring all the time, and we'll ask, and I ask a lot of people these questions. What's one of the most important things you need when you're going to be trying to get the gig as a musician, a touring act, or a touring musician? They're like, your skills and your chops don't matter as much as being a good hang. If you're a cool person that we like on the bus and we can hang out with you day after day without getting tired of you or sick of you or wanting to throw you off the bus, then that's the kind of person we like. So it's funny that you would say, because here's the thing, they're like, because everybody who is serious about it is good.
They're all good.
They're all good.
Yeah.
So you're not really. So for those who are coming, don't let that deter you. I would say, but just know that that's almost expected. It's like being professional. The business side is becoming more and more important, because it's on you as the music creator to know you may have to do this on your own if you're serious about it for a long time before a label, a major or even an indie label may look at you, because now they can look at everything before deciding. Look at good investment. When I buy a property, even I do my due diligence. And I can look at a lot of metrics to make that decision. Well, you couldn't look at that years ago. Go, let's go to the concert. Let's see how they're doing. Well, the fans seem to like them. They got a good turnout.
Right.
These guys rock, and depends on what.
Let's sign them.
Yeah, let's sign them. They were great. And depending on what you were smoking or doing that day, that could affect whether or not the next day they really sound good. Yeah. So now that's not the case. Now you're going, I can check, your downloads, how many followers you got. Are people really tracking you? How you doing on iTunes? Where you doing on Spotify? Just do you have shows lined up, and then go see you and go, how do you handle yourself? Watch your YouTube videos and go, how do you handle yourself professionally? Do you know how to, but that's what's great about Nashville. Everything that I'm sharing, and this, Bob, is that's what Music Starts Here does. It's like, if you're at your 50, 60% level, we'll help take you to the next level. Not us, but we're going to plug you in and go, this is what everybody else is doing to take their career to the next level. And if you want to monetize it and be successful, there's certain things you're going to have to do, but thinking of it like a business, like a small business, you're an entrepreneur, you have to think of it that way. It's your business. And if you don't mind your business, mind your own business, I like to say.
Yeah.
If you don't mind your own business, nobody else is gonna. And so when people come here, one thing they will find is, along with it's just expected to be good. It's expected to have excellent chops. But are you, because a lot of these guys too are, a lot of the musicians I know, they do corporate stuff on the side to make extra money. They do other gigs. They're producing. They're doing songs. So they want to have good relationships too for other things they're doing. It's not just about that one gig. They want to, hey, how do I partner with you on maybe something else you're doing? So if you come ready to think like a business person, like, I could be touring, but when I'm not touring, I could be, again, giving lessons. One of my favorite guys in the world, Rich Redmond, plays with Jason Aldean.
Right.
I would say anybody who really is serious about it, he's a drummer. Most people are like, drummers, they're just a drummer.
No, but Rich is
he's
beyond
a master.
that.
He's beyond that, because everything I just said he gets, and he exemplifies.
And he's an entrepreneur, and
he does it all. He's got his crash course stuff that he does. He does individual private trainings. He does corporate gigs. He plays with other bands. He's a songwriter. He's a producer. He loves music, so he's like, hey, I'm going to let that just come out in all these different expressions, and he's learned to figure out ways to monetize and even make himself a brand. He's an excellent, I would say, anybody out there, again, I'm a fanboy of Rich Redmond.
Well, I am too, yeah.
He's the best. And in this town, he's really shown that people who are like almost like sidemen, or the background player, can elevate themselves and do so many great things.
And if you
in
ever
their
see a
career.
Jason Aldean concert, you can't miss Rich Redmond. He's the guy in the drums, but he puts on a show himself.
Yeah.
He is a monster.
He's the old style rock drummer guy. He's the guys when you were young, you would go see those concerts and you'd be looking at that drummer going, that guy there is. If you're not looking at Jason, you're looking at Rich.
I want him in my band.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
I want Rich in my band.
Yeah.
Rich, if you're hearing this, I want you in my band.
I think, one of the things, too, when we talk about coming with your A game, Debbie and I witnessed something yesterday. She wanted to get some coffee. We were down in Franklin. We found this cool little coffee place inside the factory. And there was a guy with a drum pad playing drums with someone sitting next to him. And I'm looking at going, oh, that's kind of interesting. And I eavesdropped on the conversation a little bit. And it was a drum teacher teaching this kid some rudiments. What I'm saying is it's everywhere. And there's such talented musicians who, maybe they're session players or touring players, but they're also teachers when they get that opportunity. And these guys are doing it in front of a little coffee house.
Yeah, there's a lot of that. Everybody's just trying to, and I love it about everybody. They're all trying to do whatever they can, a lot of them, until they can get that break. But one thing you're going to learn coming to Nashville is there's 100,000 different ways to have success, but the number one way to get there is just work.
And build the relationships.
Yeah, build the relationships, be a great hang, learn to respect. If you come here with the right etiquette, hey, I'm here because I can learn something. If you come humble, even if you're awesome, it's okay. Come humble. Come ready to learn and connect with people. And that's really what Music Starts Here, again, to come full circle, is we know it's not an easy thing. They say only 2% of the people who really do music actually make it in a way that's significant or viable, but we all love it. It's one of those things where if you love it and it's in you and you want to share it, you want to figure out a way how to do it. And so people are going to make the trek. They're going to come to the pilgrimage, the Mecca of Nashville, and try to say, can I do this music thing and how do I do it? And really, I think we've taken on our role saying, we love the creative and we want you here. And I give credit to the city, Ralph Schultz and the Chamber and, Butch and the guys over at anybody I can name who's in the actual city side of it that we work with. And then the people who are in the actual music side of it, they're not saying don't come. They're saying come. Come, bring your talent, bring your gift. We want the creative. If this becomes the city where all the creators in the nation want to hang, then come. But come with the right attitude, come understanding we have an etiquette here. We'll help elevate you, but you got to be somebody who wants to give back. You want to give back into it as much as you take. Give more than you take out of the community, and sky's the limit here. But there's lots of opportunity. People just have to be ready to plug themselves in.
It's a very conducive environment to succeed, but you have to come with that attitude that it is a conducive environment to succeed.
And more opportunities. You asked, where's the music industry going? The great thing is it's not like a slowdown in opportunity. As the city grows, so does opportunity, because again, it's always been mostly a country industry, but now that I'm seeing these other genres and other groups that are coming out of here, and like you mentioned earlier, you threw some names out there that people didn't even know. Paramore came from here, Kings of Leon came from here, Jack White from here. So you start naming off more. I could go on, and people would be like, I didn't know those were Nashville people. Yeah. It's amazing. There's a list of probably 300 people you would not even believe come from here or come here. When Megan Trainor came here, she's like, that whole first album that blew up for her, he's like, every song was written in here in Nashville. I was writing with all the songwriters here. So you'd be amazed at how much of that goes on, but you don't know it because, you just see it go out on the pop scene.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, but as genre opportunities happen and different people are coming in to support that, it just creates more opportunity. And so I'm excited to see where it's going to go, because I love really all styles and all genres. I love instrumental music to classical stuff, even film and TV. There's some opportunities that are breaking open here.
A buddy of ours is getting ready to build a film production studio here on 43 acres of land up in Hendersonville, and he's going to have a 25,000 square foot soundstage, and this isn't a dream; it's a reality. They're breaking ground. They're making this thing happen. So film and television is going to be once again is going to be a big component of this city. Not just because Nashville has left the TV show,
right?
But there's other things coming in now.
Yeah, there's a lot of it. There's more, and I won't name some of the names yet. Maybe we'll do a part 2 sometime, and I can, because there is so much going on. That's what's exciting. So it's I'm trying to contain myself and not share things I maybe shouldn't talk about yet. But there's a lot of companies that are coming. Again, the city does a great job of not just going after, we're going to go after big automotive or, the typical big industry, but they want to support the creatives. When I said what I said earlier about 10% of the GDP, And that happened organically. That wasn't something anybody created but the city itself. Yeah. So now to say, how do we put more into that so it is still organic, but it has more momentum? It continues to grow. Yeah. And nobody else can take the moniker away from us. We want to have that Music City, not just Country Music City, but Music City moniker of all these. And they want it. I've not met anybody who is saying, no, we want it. No, they're excited. The city, the community. I've not really met maybe a very, very small percentage of people who are sitting on a big pile of some money still that they're like, I don't want anybody to move my cheese. Yeah. Other than a few of those people who maybe see where things are going to go. And even them, I think they know where they can make. Yeah. I think they know they can make. They're seeing the change. They're seeing the change, and technology's forcing the change. More and more people just getting into the industry. I mean, American Idol and all that stuff. It changed also the voice. It changes that face where people are looking and going, oh, I can. I love music. I love to sing. But then they realize after you're done being on the show and you've gotten 30 or 40 or 50,000 followers, what do I do? Yeah. Now what do you do? And here you have all those resources. You're sharing and plugging people into that through the podcast. But Music Starts Here does the same thing. Plugs people into those resources so they can take the fan engagement stuff that they've grown and plug into a few people here who can help take them to the next level,
So one more time, how do they find Music Starts Here?
Well, the easiest way, again, through the podcast here is just go to musicstartshere.org, and you'll see it just says join free.
Sign
up, join free, wherever you see that button, click on it. And that's the number one way.
And they don't have to live in Nashville to start.
No, you anywhere in the world. We get people from all over the world. We're already having conversations with other countries and places around the world that are like, hey, we love country music. We love the Nashville scene. How do we plug more into you? So maybe even creating little mini satellites of content to move over to them. But you can do it through no matter where you're at. That's the beauty about being online nowadays. You can, and we couldn't stop even if we wanted.
That's right. Yeah.
So join and just take advantage of the resources. And obviously anybody who's looking to our socials too, you can go to the Instagram and the Facebooks and all that. But the site's probably the best because we do more in the site. There's more 7,000 pages of content. Really, it's a large.
Just 7,000 pages.
Just about they're about. It's all carved up in chunks and very elephant. You don't eat it in one big bite. It's all smaller pieces. Even though none of us eat elephant, why do we even use that term? I don't eat elephant, but
give me a good steak. I'm fine.
I would try an elephant, but being able to just plug into the pieces and connect the dots, and like you said, the time and manner that what level you're at. Because again, people might even think, "Oh, this is just for a beginner type of thing."
Absolutely,
it's not.
No.
Yeah, we have the way for you to plug in if you're a beginner, if you're intermediate, if you're advanced. We're working. This part too. We're working with a couple other partners on a very large conference thing that would be an advanced conference. So we don't want to conflict with any of our other partners that do great conferences here, but more of really an advanced mentoring, plug you into that one-on-one relationship,
and it's all needed.
It's all
levels,
yeah.
Great.
And again, that's the best way, and we'd love to have you. Again, it's the more of music creators out there we have who are contributing, because that's what's beautiful too. Is a lot of the pros in towns. We have over 200 pros that contribute to the site. So they plug in content, they share video training, blogs, articles. It's amazing just how much they give back. And when we do events locally here, or if we're airing them live, they're the speakers, and they're teaching you how to do the business and what they've learned and what to do, what not to do.
Yes.
So, yeah.
Great. Will, thanks for being on the show.
My pleasure. Thank you, Bob.
Appreciate it. We'll have you back on. This is good.
Look forward to it. Thanks a lot.
The Business Side of Music is the creation of Tom Sabella and Tracy Snow and is produced by Bob Bender. Co-producer for the show is Vinny Ribas. The Business Side of Music is recorded at Music Dog Studios in Los Angeles, California and Nashville, Tennessee. Production sound design by Keith Stark. Voiceover and promo by Lisa Busan.